Alright, well I'm gonna walk y'all through RECO's new Spec-Master configurator software. I'm Matt Moats. I'm a design engineer here and your go-to guy for any questions or comments you may have with this software. So we'll start by, this is the address you'll need to navigate to log in, and I'll have it posted in the comments of the video. You should have already gotten this notification from me and Tim with links in the email and whatnot. But anyway, you just come here, your username. I'm going to use dummy. It's my test dummy user to get started. Username and password. How this will work, when you contact me for access, I will set you up with your name, first and last, your email address, the company that you work for, whether it be an engineering firm or rep group or whatever, and your username will be your actual email address, and then I will set you up with a password, an initial password that you'll have to change upon your first login. So anyway, this is what you'll see when you first log in. I put a little message here for the guys and girls that are just getting started with this. But basically this is where you'll come. We'll have multiple products in here, all of our products eventually. Right now it's just the vertical HX. But to create a new job, you'll come over here and click the Create New Configuration button. This is where the products will be lined up throughout here. I'm working right now on a horizontal HX. The layout's a lot different, so it's taking some time, but should be done in a few weeks. We're going to debut this at the ASPE show in Charlotte in October, so hope to see some of y'all there. Anyway, you'll click whatever product you want to configure, give it a job name. I just did demonstration test, so we'll just call this demonstration. Click continue, and you'll come to the first page. This is our terms of use page. To protect ourselves, we've got this to where you have to agree each time, and if you need to see the full text terms of use, you can click this button here. It'll pop up in another window, and of course you can read through this. Anyway, agree and continue, and this page is where you'll begin to put your constraints in and start the design of your new unit. So for the HX, we sometimes build multiple units for people depending on demand and how they're set up, but anyway, I'm sure y'all know that. But you can do multiple units here, 1, 2, 3, 7, and then your percentage of redundancy here, and that'll be used in the calculation and then the sizing of your units. Here you've got steam or liquid as far as your heating medium, 2 or 3 way. We've set this up to where you pretty much can't go wrong. For steam, you're only allowed to have 2 way. For liquid, you have 2 options, 2 and 3 way, as well as a picture change to the right, where when 3 way is selected, you get a 3 way picture. So we'll go back to steam. It'll automatically go back to 2 way. For your control system type, you can select electric, pneumatic, self-contained, or none. If you do not want us to supply that, you can of course select none. And again, the picture change you'll see on the right here, for pneumatic, for self-contained, back to electric. Here you can select what relief sizing code you prefer. Pretty straightforward. So we'll continue here. This is the page you'll set up your tube bundle, single or double wall. Again, we have automatic changes here that kind of picks things for you, whereas single wall you have choices. For double wall you do not. And we do this throughout the program to drive you to select the right thing or to disallow you from selecting the wrong thing. I'm going to leave this as is. Again, 2-pass is the only option you have for steam. Of course, we select steam earlier. If you select liquid, you'll have 2, 4, and 6-pass options there. So we'll continue. This is where you'll start the nitty-gritty constraints for your unit. So we'll say 50 GPM. For these, whenever selections pop up at the bottom here, you'll either have to click to accept it, or you can just hit enter and it'll also select it and keep it. If you don't do that, it'll drop it out and the page will not let you continue. So we'll leave it 40 to 140. Shell side or the shell design pressure you can pick. Fouling factor is important. This will affect the size of your unit and will also affect the ability of the unit to meet demand. So I urge you to use the correct fouling factor, if any, here. Shell material you can also choose. So we'll move on to the tube side inputs. Supply pressure for steam will do 15 psi. If you see here, this is not one of the drop down boxes, so you can just type 15 in it and move on. Pressure drop, I've got you a little rule of thumb here. So for 15, I'm going to choose 8 psi for the pressure drop. And again, I didn't use a fouling factor here because this is not an actual job. So I've got messages that pop up. There will be messages throughout the program that drive you one way or the other. Sometimes they're error messages, sometimes they're just warnings, and sometimes they're just messages like this that are just giving you an idea of what the program's doing, so that you're not just sitting there thinking nothing's happening. Here you can select your options, status light, seismic. You can choose the seismic code, limit systems, vacuums, all this stuff, some of your BMS controls and relays. So I'm not going to choose anything here. You can click continue here. As the message before said, our in-house sizing program is calculating the size of the unit and sizing the pipes, the shell, the bundle, all of that. And all the heat transfer calculations are going on in the background. This usually takes 15 or so seconds. So here is where you can review. So this will give you the size of your unit. This is a HX vertical. HXV is vertical. It's 150 psi design. It's a 10 by 24 bundle. And then this kind of gives us an idea of what kind of controls we've got. So 50 GPM recovery, the bundle size is 10 by 24, control systems electric, the valve size is going to be 2.5, the trap size is going to be 1.5, and the relief valve size is going to be 1 inch. And all of this is here for your review. If something just jumps out as that can't be right, you can always go back and review your stuff. And by hovering over these, you can see the inputs that you have input. So we'll continue one more time, and this is where you're ready for configuration. So I'm going to click configure design, and this is where all of the background modeling and drawing and spec generation goes on. So click configure. Now everything on our servers is working. Configuration is now being built. In a few minutes you'll have an opportunity to review your stuff. Here, you can click Notify Me. If you click Notify Me here, like I just did, our program will send you an email when it's done, so you're not just sitting there twiddling your thumbs. It's a really nice, some really nice functionality. You can go on about your business, so you don't feel like you're just watching it. Typically, the run times we're seeing is 5 to 7 minutes on this, but if you're just sitting there watching the screen, it can seem like much longer. So anyway, now I'm going to show you what's going on in the background.